Hello, everybody.
Woo!
Welcome to Amigathon 2020. We are here in the basement.
No, Amiga's headquarters.
I mean, Amigo Studios.
Yeah.
And we are ready for 24 big hours of Amiga action. And of course, that means Lionheart.
You get that right.
So
the tradition continues, Boat.
We're going to start things off as we always do, thanking all of you for joining us. And just encouraging you to please, if you can, throw some cash to the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. They are a valiant organization that helps kids all over the United States get better. And we're here to support them today. And we're here to have some good times with Amiga. And without further ado, Aaron, I cede the controller to you, my friend.
I get to use the big dog here.
Now, we're going to play this game for probably half an hour.
All right.
And I'm laying down the gauntlet right now.
The gauntlet.
I will donate $100 to the Children's Miracle Network if you can beat the first level of Lionheart.
Okay. I think I could. Well, depending on your perspective, I think I can do it. Here he comes, the man himself. Look at him. He reminds me of the Chud in terms of his body hair.
That's true. I thought you meant his physique.
Not on top. Here's the part. And then Do it. That's when you know you're fired up.
That's right. That's right.
I love that so much. It's so great. Now, of course, you have to watch all that to get to the good stuff here. How you feel, Boat? You ready for 24 big hours?
I feel great. Hand me the controller real quick.
There
I
you
have,
go.
to, I have to do a little thing to get the sound to kick on. I don't know why I have to do this, but sometimes.
It's the Boat way.
Let's see
There
if
we
that,
go.
if that did anything.
Everybody in chat, thanks for joining us today. Should have a good time. Look, he's crossing the bridge. Here we go. Hey, can I put this on 2 buttons?
Yeah, man. Do whatever you want.
All right, man. Let's do it. Here we go. Now, I haven't played this for a while, but and I was never very good at it, to be honest with you. All right, here we go. That's weird, but it'll work. Whoa! Those PC speakers?
Yeah. Old Boston's.
I hear it now.
Yeah.
Oh. Again, you know, I don't hate the hype on this, but look at that. This is console level quality right here.
You're
folks.
right. It is. It is. All right, we got some people coming in the chat. Hey, Lord Soup, Amigathon.com, PMX Twitcher, Amigathon.com. You can donate.
Easy as pie.
Easy as pie. Sanction, welcome. Lord Soup, HSE Ken, welcome, welcome. Control Alt Reese, hello, hello. Picard 2010's with us. Explorer, Rob O'Hara, Retro Gaming, Bygones, Addams, Vector Funk. Thank you guys very much.
Ooh, good name, Victor Funk. I like that.
Tear the roof off the sucker.
Well, I'm just saying, when you hear a good name, you gotta not give Flat credit for being up this early because he's on Central Time. So, you guys, I'll give you credit. Look at that.
I will say that
no, you don't.
Lionheart is a man of many animations.
That's right. He looks good too.
Yeah. Well, except for you know, when you cross a vine, you don't want to put your feet straight out like that.
That's exactly how I do it.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah. You gotta understand. Listen, if you're not used to crossing vines like that, it may be a little foreign to you.
Did you ever do any rappelling when you were in the Boy Scouts?
I've been repelling people since I was born, Boat. Did you?
Heck no. I fear that.
I mean, we're not. There's a difference between the Boy Scouts and the Rangers.
Listen, there was an opportunity to go rappelling. I chose to stay home, stay in the tent.
But I thought you were
Nintendo Power.
You're a man of adventure.
That's true.
You punk! Oh God,
my
no,
gosh,
no!
That's no good. That's no good.
Get out of there! Well, the jump and I'm not used to the jump being the first button, so I'm having some trouble here. But I'll get it. It'll take me a few minutes, but I'll get the hang of it.
It might be. We can reset it.
No, God, are you kidding me? No, good Lord, no. Listen, I can do it. Look at that. I'm back to full strength.
Game audio is a little high. Thank you. We can't adjust that.
It's not really Boat's fault, but this game's audio is so good that it demands to be played at a high volume.
That's true.
Look at the water effects, Boat. You've never seen nothing like that before.
I haven't.
There it is. Good, now I can hear it. Now here's the tricky part. Let's see if my memory's correct here. Oh, it is. It is. You see that awesomeness, Boat?
There's a lot of hidden secrets in this game. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I
When
agree.
was tell me about your first experience with Mr. Lion.
Well, I did this little. I'm not proud. In fact, I apologize to Thalion, especially since their message that said, "Please, for the love of God, don't pirate Lionheart, or you'll screw us all." Well, I pirated Lionheart.
And you screwed us all.
I screwed us all. Yeah. Oh shoot, not good. Not a good start. Not a good start either. Come on. Oh God, ball of death. Damn it. Anyway, I pirated Lionheart, and I was like, "Holy smokes, this is great! This is the best game I've ever seen," and it was. And that's pretty much that's the story.
So was this? How old were you at this time?
Well, I mean, I was.
Were you in high school?
No, no. This was. Oh God! Oh good God! No.
I can't even remember when you first got an Amiga.
I hate these little freaks.
Yep.
They're the worst. That's my most hated enemy. Whoa! What's happening there? Run, Lionheart.
Sometimes you just got to go.
I've never seen that before, so I'm assuming that's some wacky glitch.
Yeah.
you can't bull your way through there. I know that. I'm trying. The first time I got an Amiga would have been 89. So it was well into the run. I got it after. It's funny. I bought it off of a guy. I played his, and I was like, man, this is awesome. It was the Amiga 1000, and he needed money for. It's funny how often I bought stuff that people needed money for, like laundry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was something. It was a deal like that. He was like, I need money now. And where I got money, by the way, that's the other mystery. I was working.
Was this at Davaroni's?
Yeah. Davaroni's paid for this one. Damn it. And please get me out of here. Oh God, another one. I forgot about this guy. But yeah, but this is one of the best. I had played plenty of Amigas, and I thought they were impressive. You know, don't get me wrong, but I mean, this one really took it up a notch. There were a few of these that really blew my mind. This is one of them.
The Retro Hour says you broke the lion's heart by pirating.
I know. Thank you.
I think that's Ravi.
That sounds like his sort of wacky antic. But yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, I will say someone sent me a legit copy of this, and it was awesome. You know, and so I actually own Lionheart now, so I don't want to feel quite as bad.
Control Alt Reese asks, is there an official Aaron fan club? He says, would be cool if there was a pin badge in monthly magazine.
Are you kidding me, Reese? Would you join that, pal? I don't think so. Where's that?
Oh, I remember this part.
Yeah, I'm really. I know you're mocking my button placement here, but this game requires such precise button control that I'm having to get used to having to jump on the wrong button. All right, here we go. Look at those little hungry little guys down there. They want to eat you.
It would take you 2 seconds to reset this. Just go in the OSD and the mystery.
No.
Okay.
It's too late now. I've already played it for a while. I've gotten used to it now. Oh, die, suckers. There we go. You know, I'm surprised that no one's, like, released this on, like, the Genesis or something. You know what I'm saying? How they do that stuff now?
Yeah.
This is a game that's, it's untapped. And
yeah.
It's, you know what I'm saying?
I just wonder, like, who they would go to since Thalion has gone under. Maybe there's nowhere to appeal to the rights. You know, that guy made the PC port, but I have a feeling that he did that without express permission of whoever the rights holder is. So.
I can't imagine that the Thalion people would. You never know who knows this
You
stuff.
never know.
It's just killing me. Here we go. Okay. X. Here's the tough one here. There it is. Oh. Remember Thalion made that really weird martial arts game we played at one time?
Yep, I remember that. What was it called?
It was like the Shaolin Temple or something.
Right. I'm trying to figure out why because we just got a donation in, but I'm trying to figure out why the everything didn't start to go crazy on the stream, because I got it set up to go crazy.
All right. We just, every time you get one, you could just go crazy.
Yeah, well, we'll do that. We'll do that regardless.
Hope we'll be going crazy a lot.
Whoa.
I'm not sure I'd have the guts to climb on top of a bug to get where I wanted to go.
Well, if you needed to get where Lionheart needed to go, you would.
I guess when you're rescuing his incredibly hot wife, he's got his cat woman.
Looks like we got Pixels at Dawn here. We've got
Whoa, God, no.
Paul Kitching is with us. Welcome.
Damn it. I gotta knock that out of there.
Here we go.
There it is. Oh. I need to get it figured out, bud, whatever it was. Oh, that was dumb. That was dumb. I'm glad no one saw that. That wasn't smart.
Okay. So now, whenever somebody makes a donation, and we did miss out on this, so I will read it from here. TMX Amigathon, thank you so much for your $25 donation. We have now raised $2,200, $2,286, Aaron, $2,286.
Hey, awesome. Thank you very much, man.
Getting close to halfway to the goal, and we just started, so
I love it.
thank you guys so much. But the next person that makes a donation, it should pop up on the screen in a big way.
Be the first person to be on the screen in a big way. Oh, God. Oh, no, don't stop. No. I hate these. Oh.
This is about where I tap out on Lionheart. I remember this part. This is where I normally die.
No, the hard part's coming up right here. Where you have to make the jump of absolute doom. Here it is. The jump of absolute doom. I made it. Whoa. Oh, sparks. Oh, I got lucky there, I think. Not going too bad. Not doing too bad for first thing in the morning. It's hard to get up out of bed, rumble in, and start playing the hardest game. Or even when you've been away for a while. I tried to get that over me when I couldn't buy it. Oh, God. Oh, not the plants.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I forgot about the plants.
I hate the plants.
This game loves hate and hates everything
Yes.
else.
Oh, look at that. Even when Lionheart dies, it's spectacular.
He does die in a spectacular fashion.
2 shots to kill the plants because they're so tough. Oh, no, plant. Look at this. You have to be a real stud to get past this part. So we're screwed. What if I just jump over him? Oh!
Oh. That didn't work.
That's the exact reason why I don't grow a garden.
You know, the cloud movement in this game is quite disturbing. There's a lot of significant storm activity, I guess.
I think the Lionheart world is near, like, Oklahoma or Kansas.
Yeah.
I think all those storms. Although it's way too mountainous. Now I think about it. Whoa.
Ah, there we go. Jeremy, thank you.
Yeah, well
for
done,
that
sir.
$50 donation. So you can see here, Aaron is cutting a tree root with a circular saw.
Oh, wow, that made the cut?
That's the...
You get what's down.
Rob, thank you very much for your donation.
You didn't think I could pull that off at the time, did you?
No.
No one. You thought I was crazy.
I thought you were crazy, but that ended up being the linchpin for the whole arcade.
I could cut anything with a circular saw. Just not accurately. Go. Okay, here we go.
We do, Lord Soup, even though we do live in hurricane.
Oh, good God! Bee death, bees.
Tornadoes right down the road. We do live in a windy place. I've had trees come down in my backyard like you wouldn't believe.
It's not like hurricane windy.
But it's not hurricane. It's not. Yeah.
We had Duratio. We got that going for us, but that was like one time. Flack there's been through a bunch of hurricanes, so he knows the score on that.
I don't know if he's been through a bunch of hurricanes or not.
Or tornadoes. I mean, help me out here, Bo.
Tornadoes.
You know, gimmicks. Those. The big blowy things that knock your house down.
That's right, hurricane. Voxel Trots, you got it.
I can't believe we live in a town with such a cool name, and they won't use the name. That infuriates me.
What do you mean?
It's okay. So we live in a town called Hurricane, right?
Right.
But they pronounce it Hurricane.
Mm-hmm. Because we can.
No, that's
it's
dumb.
aspirational.
We live in a town with a cool name. Why not use the cool name? What are we doing?
It's hard to say.
It is not.
Listen, you got to differentiate between the name of the town and the storm name.
Why?
Otherwise, people would be confused.
But we're named after a hurricane.
Are we?
Yes. Yes, we are. Have you ever read the history of the town?
Jigglebox, thank you for your donation.
Please don't make me kill him again. Hey, look, he's doing it again, dude.
Maybe that's one of the benefits of playing with the mister.
I'm going to revel in his defeat by making him dance. Dance, Remy. Oh, man, this level's so hard. Oh, God. How much time do I have in my half hour?
You are halfway through.
Oh, Lord. Give me a challenge right out of the gate.
Speaking of challenges,
Uh-huh.
you're going to be releasing some sort of a challenge over the course of the day, aren't you?
No. No challenge. No challenges at all. Forget it. Okay, here we go. Whoa!
You're right on. HS Eric, game looks crap, but artwork is amazing.
Who said that?
That's all HSEI Ken.
What game are you talking about, dude? You ain't talking about Lionheart. Come on, looks like crap. It's the best looking game there is. Got the best hero of any Amiga game, too.
Oh, it's HSI from the Discord.
Come on, HSI. Don't be controversial. Come join the rest of us and how much we love Lionheart. Okay, here we go. It's weird to play this with this particular pad. It's not bad. You know, it's funny, I never used this on mine. I never thought about using it. I've got like 5 of these.
Yeah.
You have any trouble syncing it up?
No, because it's a USB. I've got one of those 8-bit
Oh,
DOE.
it's a Bluetooth, isn't it?
No. Well, it is Bluetooth, but I'm using an 8-bit DOE controller adapter
Why?
because the Bluetooth connection is unstable.
That's what I was wondering.
This just works.
So you're working some kind of Bluetooth angle. Oh, God. Get off me, you stupid little spiders.
Control Alt Reese, thank you for your donation, man.
Thanks, Reese. Oh, man.
We'll hear more from Control Alt Reese later on down the line. Looks like Control Alt Reese is coming up at 2 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock UTC.
You know, this is the first year I've done what UTC was. So there you go, I learned something. I had to learn. I had no idea what was happening. I was like,
We've been using
we're on at
UTC
midnight?
since 2018.
You've been using it. I've been ignoring your use of it and just doing whatever I wanted. Okay. Oh. Oh, no. Oh,
Yeah, it is very DuckTales like Lob. You're right, man.
DuckTales.
Yeah, the sword, the downward stab movement.
Man, I'm gonna look back on this and just be so. I remember last year did so well at this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you actually got to the final boss or the first boss, which might as well be the final boss.
I'm stupid spiders, and they made them so small. They knew what they were doing. Get to master that technique, Boat.
Yeah, we may do that, Picard. We may play some Amiga Olympic games since we are in the Olympic season. That's
Ooh,
not
good
a bad
idea,
man.
dude. Didn't we just do a game that the Summer Olympics guy made? I was on one of the shows because I remember doing the research. I'm like, oh, it's the guy that made Summer Game.
Don't know.
Sure you do. Ah!
Whoa! Hopefully that was the right path.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is it. I'm sure I got it right.
Surprised there's not a field of spikes. Look at those. Look at the way they follow you.
I know these little jerks. God.
Is the Chud a fan of Lionheart?
The Chud, I don't think they ever played Lionheart.
He's more of a gods guy.
No. Chad was more like a Deluxe Galaga type guy.
We ought to let him have a go with Deluxe Galaga. He's probably never played it. He doesn't really. He's not a big Amiga guy, is he?
Oh, I think he loves some Amiga games. Oh God, no! Here we go again with this guy.
What was the shooter that he? Oh, it was
Hypris.
Hypris. Yeah, won him over. Yeah, that's a great comparison, Rob. Rob says He-Man plus the guy from Roston equals Lionheart.
Well, he's except better. All around. Oh, I was all the way at the end. I got to come all the way back to this goof. Screw you, game.
I will say that the game does a pretty good job with checkpoints.
Does a bad job with bugs.
How many of these things do they make you fight?
Well, you have to, you know how they are. This land's infested with them. I think Lionheart, part of his job, it's not just rescuing the chick. You're going in there to kill a bunch of bugs.
Yeah, he's like the guy in Minor 2049er. He's a exterminator.
If I can not lose 50 hit points before I get to the main guy, I should be okay.
Yeah, Hybris is great, Lord Soup.
There you go. Do your
Is he gonna
dance.
do the dance? Oh,
Do it.
that's unfortunate.
Okay. Jeez.
Hey, we're coming in on the last 5
You know,
minutes
it's not
here.
fair. This for your thing. The time. You know, this level is so long.
Listen, man. I set the conditions. It's up to you to meet them.
But if I don't think the best experts on Earth can get there that quick.
Yeah, well, I will definitely take you up on that bet.
I've never seen anyone that was really awesome at this game. Have you?
Yes, because of YouTube.
Well, I mean, if you look on YouTube, like a chump. You mean there are people that speedrun this?
Well, there are people that just play it competently.
What are you? I'm competent. You hoser. Ah! Okay. I'm still competent. I'm pretty competent. Ah! Oh! Bug guy. What you the bug guy, weeds?
The killer weeds are very amusing.
Like this guy. What is this guy's life? Is he shooting his young, or what is this?
And he just does it
Ah!
in an infinite loop, day in, day out, on the off chance that Lionheart should come around.
So he's just shooting his guys a lot. Look, he's been pursuing me. Oh!
Well,
that should count.
I programmed that in.
That should count. I completed the game. Gurus are the same as beating the boss.
That's true. I've heard that.
I'm getting hosed here.
All right. Well, we're gonna pick it right up with another Amigos tradition. We're gonna do a half an hour of the Addams family.
I think you just do this to make me look like a spud head. Is what I think.
Well, Lionheart is your favorite Amiga game. Lionheart or Addams Family is my favorite Amiga game.
Listen, you guys saw it. I was this close to getting to the boss, and then but Boat had a cunning plan. It's not the. Wait a minute. That's what you're drinking out of? The sucky water
man,
thing?
I wouldn't be without the sucky
You know that
water
sound you make when you do that? It sends a shiver down my spine.
That's part of the
when I
reason
hear
why
that
do
noise.
it. So, if you guys are not familiar with this game, this is the Addams Family. This is by far the greatest platformer on the system. It is pretty much the only console quality platformer on the Amiga.
That's not true.
Name another one.
We just played one.
I wouldn't call Lionheart a Mario style platform.
You didn't say Mario style. You said platform.
Well,
a console platform.
Platformer is sort of a...
Listen, you make new rules up. I've watched your best Amiga platformers thing, and you liked a ton of those.
Well, no, I rated them highly on my sort of rubric.
What? Doesn't rating them highly mean you like them?
Listen.
You just change the rules all the time. How many times have we covered a game and you said, this is the best something or another on the Amiga we've ever played? If I looked that up, I bet I could find 20 times that you'd said that on the show. And we both know this isn't as good as some of the other ports, including the ST one.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about on the Amiga. And the ST port is not as good as the Amiga
I thought
port.
the ST had the background.
It has backgrounds, but it's flip screen. It's flip.
I think this
scroll.
game it lends itself to a flip screen perspective. I think that's the way you should.
Okay, well, you're well. Yeah, Guiana Sisters, no.
Who said that?
Somebody that's got Amiga Stockholm syndrome.
Hey, Guiana Sisters is a Mario quality console game.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted, so by definition, I'm going to agree with whoever said that.
Well, it's Mario. I wouldn't go as far to call it quality.
The Guiana Sisters sequels are great. I do love those, the Steam ones.
One of the things about this this game is that the frame rate is definitely not up to par with the console ports. It does tend to stutter a little bit, but you know.
What is gaming's fascination with bird poop?
It's a projectile.
Is it? I guess if that bird does, look at this. That's like he's pooping boulders.
That's right. If you live in the Addams Family mansion, there's only one way to poop.
You want to elaborate on that statement?
Nope.
See, Paul says Guyana is better than
Paul
Mario.
also thinks up the jump is the way to play platforming games. So that says all you need to say right there.
There's no way that's a brown egg. Well, I mean, there are brown eggs. It's possible, but I'm not buying it. It's guaranteed it's poop. Like, what are these guys doing?
I think there are some people out there that, they were in such a defensive posture their whole youth, having to defend their computer of choice, that it makes them blind to, when better games actually came along on other systems.
If you had an Amiga back then, who were you defending it against? It's the best one.
If you had an Amiga,
there was no one else out there. Who were you going to fight?
If you had an Amiga in 1992 and all your friends had Super Nintendos or Mega Drives, you'd be doing a lot of defending.
Well, I mean, listen, not very few people had in the UK probably had Super Nintendo in '92.
I have no idea.
So there you go. I'm going to go with that.
Okay. What's that? Music and sound effects? Insane.
Yeah, but Lionheart had better music and better sound effects. Oh, come on. Are you kidding me?
I really like the music in the Addams Family. I don't know if Lionheart has sound effects. I think it just has.
Yeah, it does. Didn't you hear him go, "Arr!" And then you swing the sword, it makes a noise, and the bugs make noise?
Okay. I might give you the sound effects thing, but I really like the music in the Addams Family.
You're an Addams Family mark. I mean, that's call it what it is. I'm in Realville. You're in like Boat's Favoriteville. Like, what is that guy? Like, some of this stuff, just all those wacky
But
games.
it is wacky, but it's the Addams Family Mansion. That's why it works. You're gonna have tons of wacky stuff in the Addams Family Mansion.
I do like the movies that this is, I guess, sort of based on.
The music in the Amiga version also sort of comes and goes as it pleases. This is a really hard.
You know how difficult it is to have music and also have gameplay. So I just assume it goes out when there's really difficult things going on. Talk about pixel perfect jumping.
Yeah, this is one of the hardest jumps in the game, and I'm trying. There we go.
There it is. Those guys have no legs.
They hop. There it is. It's just come back on now. That's all right. I'll checkpoint past that jump now, so it's all good.
When you get done with how you make the chat bigger. I'm reading it.
Yeah.
Do it on my blindery. You don't have to do it now. Play your game.
Oh, shoot.
I'm glad it's not just me.
So we are approaching the boss of this level. Can you guess what the boss of this level is?
I don't remember. Is it a big ice guy?
It's a big snowman.
There you go. That's technically I was correct.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fart noises in this game.
Like I said, you might be onto something with the effects being better in Lionheart. But really, I'm really surprised that there's been tons of Addams Family remakes. There was the second live action one.
Yeah,
there was
the
CGI one. There's been a Broadway musical, but as far as I'm aware, they've never capitalized that with a video game. And I just think because of the way the Addams Family Mansion is, it's huge, it's full of different kinds of rooms and secrets and stuff. It seems like it would be great fodder for another game.
Didn't Fester have a game?
Yeah, on the NES, Fester's Quest, known as one of the most difficult games on the system.
How are your skills at that one?
Horrible. It's a totally different game. It's a top-down shooter. Like Xevious. It's not really like Xevious.
Is it like? I was going to say, wait a minute, Xevious.
It's like did you ever play Zombies Ate My Neighbors?
No.
Okay, well, it's
I
similar
know
to
of
that.
it.
And then there's Addams Family Values has a game. I don't recall that one. There's also a game called Pugsley Scavenger Hunt, which is...
Yeah, I thought he had one.
Yeah, it's similar to this, but it's a lot more difficult. And Pugsley has that kind of Kid Chaos look about him that just makes me want to not play.
Little bratty boy. The thing is, he looks like a simple like oaf type in shows.
Right, exactly. I'd rather play the simple type.
Maybe they made him cooler looking to like get the cool guy dollar.
That's
Does that
exactly
work
what they did.
when you get the? Is that how you do it?
I don't think so, because I don't think that game sold very well. This may be a multiple life.
This looks like a guy who they rejected from Clay Fighters. You know, remember that game?
Oh yeah, Icky Bod Clay.
That's right. Who was the Elvis guy that was always in that? Remember, they always had the Elvis guy.
Did I ever tell you I used to work with the Mexican Elvis? Elvez?
There's got to be more than just one Mexican Elvis.
Listen, in my world, there's only one.
Elvez?
Yeah.
How was he?
I never heard him play, but every summer he would leave. This is at the Apple Store. He would take a leave of absence from the Apple Store and go on tour.
Was his real name Elvez?
No.
Oh. You never had this guy do some Elvis for you in the store?
I should have. Looking back on it.
How well did you know him?
I worked directly with him every day.
How could you not ask him to sing some Elvis songs?
It was a stupid mistake on my part. It's one of the great regrets of my life.
It just blows my mind. That's like if you work with like an incredible mime or a ventriloquist, and you the whole time you're there, you don't have them do any of their stuff.
Yeah. You're right, man. You're right.
Did he have the outfit? Did you ever see him wear the suit?
Yeah, I did see a picture.
What differentiates Mexican Elvis from normal American Elvis?
The Mexican Elvis is Mexican.
Does he have Listen, smarty, I know that.
Did you ever see Black Diamond?
No.
He's the world's best Black Neil Diamond impersonator.
Okay, good name.
He performed at Wat Powell Park all the time.
Black Diamond?
Yeah, I've seen him multiple times.
What's his first name? Black?
No, that's his stage name.
Oh.
His Christian name is not Black Diamond.
So, but I mean, getting back to the Elvis for a second, our Elvis had the sequin jumpsuit, right?
Yeah.
Remember that? So, I would assume Mexican Elvis would have some sort of Mexican interpretation of that particular suit.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Well, I mean, you got to realize, if you look at the lucha culture and all that stuff, the Mexicans are not averse to the sequins.
See, that's where I was going. I thought maybe you'd have some lucha in the gimmick.
Maybe so.
Like maybe Elvis comes out in a cool mask and a cape.
That would rule if that were the case.
I just watched a movie the other night called Super Argo versus No-Faced Giants or something like that. Super Argo was a Mexican wrestling movie, and it was great. We need more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Super Argo wore a tight red bodysuit. He looked like, you ever see The Phantom?
Yeah.
That suit he wore and he had that kind of mask that covered the top of his face.
Right.
Picture exactly like that, except the suit was red, bright red.
Huh.
And the best part was this is Mexican movie, right? His sidekick was this turban wearing Indian guru guy.
Cool.
And get this, so they get in this room where they're being gassed to death, cyanide gas.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's no chance that they're going to escape, right? Well, don't worry, because the Indian guy's like, listen, let's go into our trance, dude, because this gas is heavier than air.
Okay.
Right? And so what do? They go into a trance and they levitate above the floor. So they're up on the ceiling where they can breathe.
That makes sense. Where did you see this movie?
This was on. When I got the new TV, we get all these crazy internet channels.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a channel that shows nothing but riff tracks, 24/7. So it was on riff tracks. I recommend it. Super Argo. I can't remember. I think it was against the faceless monsters, something like that. Doesn't matter as long as you got Super Argo in there.
Yeah.
Super Argo had a cool car too. And there's one scene where the Super Argo's working with the mayor or something. He goes, listen, I need a special car. And they're like, okay, Super Argo, anything for you, dude. So Super Argo comes out and he gets his car, and this car's got spikes all over the front of it. It's almost like a huge rolling fork. And so here come the faceless monster. So what's Super Argo do? What would you do if you're a hero? You run him over with his car.
With the huge rolling fork.
He's forking all these guys, man.
Did he say fork you as he did it?
No, of course not. That wouldn't be something the kids could get into. I'm not sure that would translate either.
It's true.
To be honest with you. Plus, that's just in the realm of bad taste as well.
I'm having a hard time with this block
I noticed
here.
that. You forked yourself.
It's really not worth it, but...
What are you... You trying to get money?
Yeah.
What's the point of that? Do you give you anything?
When you get 99, you get an extra life. typical Mario stuff, but at least, unlike most platformers on the Amiga, it has a purpose. You're
Don't
not
give
just
me a
picking
break
it up.
with that. I would not put up with your blasphemy during Amigathon. You better sit there and suck up and like it. Like somebody screaming at their dog.
Listen, our neighbors have a constant, just outdoor loud conversation all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
What are they talking about?
Whatever's on their mind. I can never understand it. It comes across as just.
See, this is why I don't go outside much at home, because my neighbors would be like that. They'd be like, man, I wish that Aaron would shut up, that loud jerk. I'd be like, I saw this Mexican movie, Boat, screaming at the top of my lungs. Everyone in the neighborhood knows who Super Argo was.
Hey, is anybody rented the house that's next to you yet?
Would you?
No, I wouldn't come close to that.
I
thing.
wish you would.
Yeah.
No, they do clean it out. Hey, I saw something when I came in today on your trash can. Have they not sent you a new label? No. Yeah, me either. Did they just stop doing that?
I'm wondering if they just stopped doing it and now they just have a computer system that tells them the houses that have paid.
Yeah.
Because I did wonder about that myself.
I thought I kept thinking, man, I must have lost this because I haven't put one on here for
Maybe
like
you'd
4
anger
months.
the trash people somehow.
Well, have you ever had it where you didn't put the sticker on and they just don't pick up your trash?
Oh yeah.
You're boned.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they moved on to another system because they're definitely still withdrawing money from my checking account every 3 months.
Yeah, they gotta have. Oh, you've got it on auto pay.
Oh yeah.
I don't trust auto pay.
I auto pay everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't you trust it? You're not gonna get hosed?
No, because I get an email when it happens, so I know when it happens. I got rid of my table, my first kitchen table.
Yeah. Okay.
This is an awesome story.
All right.
So remember Borders at the mall?
Yes.
Okay. When they went out of business, they sold all their furniture.
Yeah.
Remember they used to have that little cafe in there? And they were selling our tables, and I bought one of those tables. I had a Borders table.
Yeah.
You can't imagine how much this thing was worth. A table from Borders.
But is that because was it worth a lot because Borders bought it and it was expensive, or is it because it was at Borders that made it better?
It was at Borders. The
Why?
Huntington Mall Borders. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Well, I don't. How many goofs sat at that table and sat on it with their hiney?
That's probably true. But the problem is that the legs were attached just by screws.
Well,
and,
how do they normally attach them?
Well, like metal legs were directly attached to the wood. Like there was no intermediary between the two.
Why would that? But you said this was a top dollar table, so you said it was a kind of clunky table.
It was kind of clunky, and eventually those screws got stripped.
Yeah.
And you couldn't attach the legs anymore. So what did I do? I just put it all in the basement, on the other side, the unfinished side, and it sat there for like 6 or 7 years. So finally, it got hauled away yesterday.
Let me ask you a question. When it sat in your basement, I mean, was it still working?
No, it was.
Why would you keep it?
Well, because it was heavy and it was hard to take out of there. So I had to call Waste Management.
So your basement's sort of like your own personal landfill.
Yeah, yeah.
What does Eve think about those antics?
Well, she is even worse than I am in terms of throwing things out. She's like you. She never wants to throw anything out.
Yeah.
So under cover of darkness is normally when I dispose of things.
You know, I don't know if the people in the chat realize that you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
That's a shoot. He goes, now I have no doubt that you do that. Wait till Eve's in bed and run up there and dispose of your crap.
Yep. She had there was stuff that was here when we moved here.
Yeah.
The previous owners had just left.
Yeah.
And it was just junk, like old shelf, like a shelf with a candle holder on it, or not. It was like one of those things you mount to the wall.
Like what do they call those?
I don't know.
They have a name, a gimmick, I believe.
Yeah,
is what they're
gimmick.
called. Yeah.
And I was like, we're never going to use this. She's like, just keep it. And so after 4 or 5 years of just keeping it, I just threw it away.
Did it still work? Could you?
It was a thing you mounted to the wall that you attach a lit candle to.
Yeah.
It's like something you'd see in like a medieval.
That sounds pretty cool to me. You should get a bunch of those, put torches in them. How big a candle?
Like a taper candle.
No, I know what you're talking about though. What is the name of those? Those have a name, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I don't know. Maybe the chat can help us out.
As a D&D guy, I should know this. I can't remember.
I'm gonna make the chat bigger so you can see it. Isn't that what you just asked me to do?
No, just the way you said it, it amused me.
Candelabra? No, I don't.
Candelabra is what Liberace used to have on his piano. I wish my brother George was here, and he'd have the.
Whatever happened to Liberace?
He died. Oh. Yeah, he got in a palimony lawsuit. His museum went out and he died.
You said he got into PAL mode.
No, well, trust me, he was in PAL mode most of his life, from what I heard. The guy could play piano, that's for darn sure. And he was entertaining.
Shoot.
And you're off your game today, Boat.
Well, I am. I'm
I think
not
you're nervous.
practiced.
Nervous that you're playing it for all these people.
Normally, I practice this a couple times before playing it, and this time I haven't.
It's because normally you play this every day.
Yeah.
That's why.
You know, I do. As far as I'm aware, I have the Amiga speedrun record of this game.
You know, it's funny, Nidvig there, I thought he said Scotch, as if asking, and it doesn't say Scotch, but that's the way my mind saw it, and I was like, don't mind if I do.
Is Nidvig? Is he the? Didn't he write Lionheart? Isn't that his name? Nidvig?
No, it's not.
What's his name?
Well, I know it, but right now it's not coming to my brain. It was multiple people. But
No, there's one man.
It's not like
behind
one
Lionheart.
guy.
There really was, though, wasn't it?
He wouldn't accept my Discord
And
buddy.
request.
Yeah, it's Hank Torborg or something like that. Norborg.
Wasn't that Hulk Hogan's real name?
Torborg was the demon from WCW. He played the. You ever see that guy?
No.
WCW made a deal with Kiss to have a wrestler.
Really?
And so he came out the God of Thunder, and he looked like a hybrid Kiss guy, like Gene Simmons and Paul and all those guys. This big guy.
Okay.
And he came out to God of Thunder, and Kiss made this deal where this guy could only appear in main events. And so every time, they ended up using this guy as a jobber for after a while because people didn't like him. So after a while, and the thing is, every time this guy came out, by contract, they had to say, this is your main event. Even if it was like the first match and he came out and got murdered in like 5 minutes.
Was he a good worker?
No, not really. It was okay. What are you going to do in a Kiss demon gimmick?
Where do you think the history books will come down on Kiss?
Well, I mean, they were wildly popular and still
Yeah.
are. They've got, but it's more of a kind of a, I don't want to say niche, but it's sort of there's a select people.
I definitely wouldn't call them mainstream popular these days.
I'll tell you what, in the 70s, holy
yeah,
smokes,
they were
off, in the 80s, they were off the
I
charts.
think they were one of the first groups to really be conceived and marketed as a thing. You know, like when the guys got together for Kiss, they were like, listen, we're going to wear this makeup. We're going to be like Alice Cooper, except more, and people are going to love it. We're going to have merch. We're going to do everything. We're going to have a Kiss army. They were one of the first bands, I imagine, that had a real marketing push behind them.
You know the funny thing about Kiss, and this is one of those, you have to give the devil their due to a certain degree. Like Gene Simmons and Paul were pretty smart guys.
Sure,
And now Gene, I don't think is a quality person. And
Yeah, most
Paul
people
may
hate
or
him.
may not be. I don't know. But hey, listen, we call it like it is. They came out with a good gimmick, that makeup and the demon and all that junk. And oh, by the way, they had some good songs.
Right.
Now but the Kiss, they lived on their rep for probably 2/3 of their career, if I'm honest.
Right.
Because it's not like they were releasing really great stuff after that. I mean, I never heard it. Maybe it was awesome, but it just, some people people just don't, you don't hear them on the radio or whatever.
Yeah.
You hear the same old Kiss songs over and over.
Yeah.
But they had a good gimmick. They made retirement tours a yearly event.
Yeah.
They were, and eventually Paul and Gene realized that they could pretty much go through any other members they wanted. They could kick out other suckers at their
Peter
leisure.
Criss was gone.
Peter Criss was gone. They got rid of a lot of guys. Vinny
Testaverde?
No, was it Vinnie Vincent was there, and of course, Fraley, Ace Frehley, their original guitarist. It was a good guitarist. Also, they had to have. I mean, Ace Frehley had drug issues big time, and I think Peter Criss did too. But they could do what they wanted, so they just brought in any goof they wanted, stuck them in the makeup.
That's the hardest room in the game, and that's about as fast as I've ever done.
Yeah,
that,
well
so
done,
That's
eh?
great.
All right.
Burn
It's an interesting name.
Fraser. Scott Byrne Fraser, thank you for your donation, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott.
And don't forget, guys, you can win fabulous prizes. A $25 donation automatically enters you into our prize drawing.
Oh.
You can win all the fine things that you see on the sponsor roll there, including an RMC prize package, including a Hoffman vinyl record,
Nice.
The Cave Sessions, a Retro T-Breaks book, and the just announced, soon to be kickstarted retro coloring book that he's done in conjunction with Stu Cambridge,
Neil
the artist.
did this?
Yeah, the artist behind the Sensible games, as well as many other Amiga classics. They've done a coloring book full of retro computers and other retro fun stuff. So you'll win all of that. You can also win one of three £10 gift vouchers from Amiga Addict. You can use to purchase your very own issue of Amiga Addict.
Yeah.
You can win an Amiga Addict ceramic mug.
Ooh.
We also have a Rainbow Islands diorama by Rob's Retro Tributes you can win. So
those are so nice.
Yeah,
I mean,
they are
those
so
dioramas
good,
are
yeah.
so cool. You know, wow, that's a good bunch there.
Yeah.
I see you got your boy kicked in big time there.
Absolutely.
Your good buddy Neil.
Yeah. He's a very generous guy. So
Coloring book, eh?
that thing.
What an angle! I love it.
Yeah, and of course he's developed this to get the cave ready. You know, Neil has big plans for the Cave 2.0. He's turning it into a full-on computer museum, and so the proceeds from that coloring book sale will go directly to finishing up the final touches of the Cave RMC museum.
I don't know if you watched the last bit where the guy sitting on the remote control boats.
No. I didn't see
that?
No.
It was that. Let me tell you, I don't know if you saw the latest. Not to put Neil over, but the latest episode, he talked to a guy who worked on Lemmings, and the guy sent Neil some discs that had like Lemmings level editors on them, and then
crazy.
Neil went in and screwed around with them, and then released them to the public.
Oh, cool.
The public, if you will. And so these things are out there now, which is pretty cool.
So there's a Lemmings level editor.
It's amazing how simple they were. I was watching them use. I mean, I don't mean simple to use. I mean, could you use it? Yes. Could you make a level that didn't suck? No, probably not.
Yeah.
No, I mean, maybe you could. I don't know.
No, I could.
But the tools to make it, it wasn't like, I mean, it was not that bad. You could almost have released that just to let some sucker do it. I was like, man, this doesn't seem that tough. I love it. But the cave's looking good. Now you can race boats out in the lagoon there, whatever he's got.
Animortal has joined us. Hello, Animortal.
Man.
I'm doing a lot better on this level than I normally do. So I'm starting to shake
sunk
the
up
rust
the first
off
level.
here,
Now
yeah.
you're out. Man, what's happened to your golf game? I've been watching your streams. I watched that last one you did. You were the front nine looked great, and you fell off a cliff.
It's part of it's mental. Where if I have one bad hole, I just sort of lose focus. It's not unlike my real golf game. But a lot of times, you know, that game is just brutal on the back nine, and I'm just not that good. That's what it all comes down to.
How do you look at if you look at your real golf game versus the Neo Turf Masters? Where would you fare better?
Neo Turf Masters 1,000,000%. Do you know
what's your handicap?
Do you know how many birdies I've ever gotten in my life?
50?
No, like less than 10.
Oh.
And they've all been on par threes.
Oh.
So yeah, that is Neo Turf Masters. Like, it's video game golf. There's a bigger gap between one's real skill in video game golf versus real golf and then any other sport. I'm fully convinced. Because like baseball, I can hit a baseball. If you throw me a baseball, I can hit it. You know, bowling, I can bowl a strike. But getting an eagle, you know, you can do that fairly regularly in video game golf.
Yeah.
In real golf, no way.
You can bowl a strike. Are you a good bowler?
You saw me. We went bowling.
Yeah,
a couple
I don't
weeks
remember
ago.
you being that great at bowling.
I bowled a strike.
Oh, you mean you could bowl a strike during some game?
Right, exactly.
I thought you'd be like on command.
Oh, no.
I was like,
Gosh,
wow.
no.
I was stunned to
I'm
hear
not
that.
a
I'm like,
freaking
what?
DBA,
You should have
man.
commanded that more often in the game we saw.
No. Oh, I missed that last donation. Who can somebody fill us in on who that last donation came in from? I apologize, guys. I was defending my bowling game.
Are you kidding me?
Adam
Bradley. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Adam. Stalwart companion of the Amigos,
Yeah,
Adam Bradley.
Our good buddy.
Come on. So coming out, this is the most annoying level in the game. So we're almost done with it.
This is the most annoying one, eh?
Yeah. You don't like this game, do you?
It's okay. I mean, I think it's a pretty good game. It's hard. It's real hard.
It is.
And it's also...
The levels are too long.
I wasn't going to say it. Yep.
I'm not going to tell you that this game is perfect. But in the land of the blind...
Oh, here we go. What did I say? No more bad mouthing.
Okay.
Even the Jester's got their faces embedded in the stone.
Yeah.
Got a lot of Jack. Oh, recto fire.
You know, have you ever?
I
thought it was on its return trip. I was going to save some time.
Gomez just committed suicide. It's like, I'm screw it. I'm done.
Have you ever been in a big mansion before?
I live in one.
Well, aside from your humble abode.
I have. I've been in mansions, yes. Like the Anchorage comes to mind.
I think the only one that I've really ever been in was the old Sunrise. Would you call the Sunrise Museum a mansion?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It was quite nice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I would there, especially at Christmas time, they'd have the trees out.
Right.
You know?
It's such a shame that...
Scummy, slimy lawyers
Yeah,
took over that
right.
mansion. Listen, scummy, slimy lawyers run this joint.
They do. You ever watch local TV? That's the only advertising you see.
Yeah, I watch it. How many lawsuits are going on at any given moment? Whoa!
Jerry Gray, thank you for that donation. We do
Thank you, Jerry.
appreciate it.
Look at that freak.
Yeah. Listen.
This doesn't look that tough to
No,
me.
the bosses in this game, except for the final boss, are not that bad. The big secret to this game that most people give up on this game because they don't complete the levels in the correct order. You have to get all those heart containers. You're not going to be able to, you got to get those first. And the game doesn't do a good enough job of telling you that. All right, Wednesday's back. We got about 5 more minutes before we pass things off to Dan Wood, the big DW.
The big Wood.
Half of the Retro Hour podcast. DJ extraordinaire. Everybody in the UK is a DJ, though.
We've known Dan for a long time, haven't
Yeah.
we? Retro Hour came around right about the same time we did. Is this the guru? What's going on here?
Listen,
Listen.
it's a mix of influences in the old Addams Family Mansion. So here's a trick. You actually, to be able to get back to where you need to go, you actually have to bounce off that guy and come around the other way. This is going to take you under the house.
Tricky.
I should have got that heart. Look at it.
You didn't get it. That's weird.
Oh yeah, well this game is much easier than Lionheart because the controls are less awkward. It's a button to jump by default. Now you can turn button to jump on in Lionheart, but there's just less going on. You don't have to worry about the sword attacks and all that stuff. You jump on enemies' heads to kill them. It's a Mario-style platformer. You know, Lionheart is its own thing. It's sort of a cross between a run-and-gun game like Turrican and a platformer.
Hey, pick a king. You can watch both. You can watch us and the Olympics. You
Yeah.
can watch athletes at the height of their athleticism,
Or you can watch the
compete against
Olympics.
each other, mano a mano, in a game of pure athletic skill. Or you can watch two tubby doofuses play video games in a basement. I think we're on an even keel here. We're gonna have a bigger crowd here than the Olympics, though. We got that going for us.
That's true.
about
That's
it.
true.
I actually watched some Olympic. Even I was surprised by this one. I watched some Olympic softball last night for some reason.
I love the Olympics.
I like the
especially
Olympics.
the Summer Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, I will say it's kind of a bummer this year with no crowd. But I did watch, and the crazy thing is the facilities are off the charts. Have you seen any of the?
Well, they don't mess around in Japan.
No, they do not. Everything they do it top shelf, and so it's a shame. It would have been great with 1 million people
Oh, yeah.
there. But they got dealt a bad hand. Honestly, I told you this a long time ago. I was stunned they had them.
Yeah, me too.
Because I don't think I would have done it. But they're having them, by God, they're going to go for it.
ST Muck. Thank you. Look at that gif, huh?
I think it's pronounced stomach. What is? Oh, that's great. Thank God you immortalized that.
That will live forever.
And yet we don't have any footage of the pathetic lame pie face you got.
It's funny how that happened.
And it sucked. But I was there. It was no good. It was just it was a pie tin full of whipped cream. When I got hit, it was a solid pie. Someone mixed up a cement pie for me.
You also had Hat Chad, Major League pitcher.
Yeah, he violated my face with that thing. That was brutal. I'll get him back one of these days. He's got one coming. That should have been his contribution. Let me hit him in the face with something. Is this the Blade level?
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Blade? You never really hear about Blade anymore.
Blade?
Yeah, like Wesley Snipes.
You know, I never really was into that comic either, to be honest with you.
Isn't it kind of like Vampire the Masquerade?
It's nothing like that. Well, actually, now I think about it, that movie was, yeah, kind of. It's like a
I've only
Vampire
played the pinball
Society.
machine, so I don't know. I like
It's
the
a
pinball machine.
I don't think I've ever played the machine.
It's a pinball FX table, but it's good. It's one of the early ones.
You know what? No one talks about Blade. He was like one of the original Marvel movie guys.
You know, I may be wrong about that. I can't. Somebody will have to tell me. This Blade was a table I had on the 360 back in the day, but I can't remember who made it. It was probably Pinball FX, though. I can't imagine it would be anybody else.
It
is. Blade is coming back, according to Duncan Styles.
Oh, goody. I believe that. Who was that had? Who was the star that was it? Was it Chris Christopherson that was in Blade? Well, it was, wasn't it? Yeah. It's a weird level. It's amazing. Like, see, this stuff here I think is clever when they have these real crazy mystery zones.
David Conover, thank you so much for that
Thank you.
donation. $50.
We got
coming in from
ourselves a
Dave.
Conover.
That's right. Man, I want to listen to that song. Maybe we'll do that
We
during
got
the break.
a great big
Yeah.
Conover rocket through the night.
Can you imagine how you'd feel if you were one of the people that were singing the backup during that part in the chorus?
I'd feel great.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to be. I'd play that song every day, and
But
I would
those
tell
are
anybody.
wealthy, attractive ladies.
That's true.
We are poor, singing, unattractive fellows. So I don't think it'd go too good. That would. Who was the guy that sang Convoy?
Oh, I don't know.
We got ourselves. I mean,
I
when I say
can't-
sang, I guess we did see Beetle jargon through it. I mean, he's the guy that got credit. And the
I
chick
wonder
got-
if he was a real truck driver, sort of like how they got the guy to be in Full Metal Jacket. That was the real dude.
that
you
was
know?
great.
Yeah.
Early Irving or his name. Yeah, that guy was great. I would assume.
All right. It is 9 o'clock, which means it's time to roll on to our first guest of Amigathon. We are going to turn things over to the one and only Dan Wood, and Dan is going to take you through a tour of some of the best Amiga stuff that he has been around over the years. So, without further ado, we give you the man, the myth, the legend, Dan Wood.
Take it away, Dan.
We'll see you guys back in about an hour.
Hello and welcome to Amigathon 2021. I'm Dan Wood, coming to you from my very warm home office here in Nottingham in the UK, where, like lots of the world at the moment, we are going through a bit of a heat wave. I think it's like 31 degrees outside at the moment, which is actually very warm for here in the UK. So I've turned my fan off as well, so you can't hear it on the microphone. So hopefully I don't look too sweaty, and hope I don't pass out while I'm recording this for the next hour or so. But really, I did want to appear just on here to say, you know, I show my support for this incredible event, Amigathon, where all the community comes together and we do something really special, raising money for the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. So we need you guys to donate whatever you can and really make a difference to these children who need our help. So you can do it right now. Head to the website, amigathon.com. I'm going to be appearing regularly over the next hour to remind you of that address, and hopefully there'll be some kind of graphic we can put on stream to remind you as well. Amigathon.com. But for the next hour or so, I was, really honoured when John invited me onto the stream. Unfortunately, I'm not coming to you live today, as I've got an event that I'm at on Saturday. But I did want to appear on here just to, say how much I support this event, and also to show you a couple of the Amiga videos that I've made over the last 12 years or so that I've been on YouTube that I'm most proud of. Now, some of you may be familiar with my content. If you're not, I'm Dan. Hi. I do a retro gaming and technology podcast from here in the UK called the Retro Hour with Ravi Abbott and Joe Fox, my two co-hosts, and we've released that every single Friday for coming up on 6 years now. So there is a really big back catalogue, and every episode we bring you a guest as well. So we do interviews with industry veterans. It could be developers, graphic artists, it could be audio designers, sound designers, people that used to run companies. We've had so many people on, and lots of Amiga episodes as well. So if you haven't delved into our back catalogue, 300 episodes worth almost at theretrohour.com, I'm sure you'll find something there that you enjoy. And also I do YouTube as well. I've been on YouTube for about 12 years now. Again, kind of cover all aspects of retro tech and computing and gaming, but really the Amiga is where my heart really lies. As my background is actually, you could say, I've got computers in my DNA. My mum and dad both worked in the industry. my mum now retired, my father no longer with us, unfortunately, but my mum was actually a mainframe programmer, mainly using COBOL back in the 1970s. And my father was an electrical engineer, circuit board design he did as well. So really, my dad built the computers and my mum programmed them. So it was always going to be something that was kind of running through my veins, I guess. I remember when I got my first computer, a Commodore Plus 4, for Christmas 1987, I think it was. And whereas most kids would sit on their mum's knees and, they'd read Goldilocks and the Three Bears, we'd be sitting there programming fruit machine simulators into the computer in BASIC. So, that was kind of my background. And then when I got my Amiga for, I think it was Christmas 91, I got that in the Cartoon Classics pack. Yeah, that machine really opened my mind to the possibilities of what computers could do creatively. And really everything I do today, I've got the Amiga to thank for, building that foundation, getting me into audio and video. I used to use a Genlock at school to do video titling, and we'd mess around making really crap animations in Deluxe Paint back in the day. But really, the Amiga changed my world. So I got the 500 Plus for Christmas 91, then I got the A1200, Christmas 93, got a couple of CD32s as well. And today I regularly make Amiga content on YouTube. So what I thought I'd do over the next hour or so is I'd show you, hopefully we can get 3 videos in here, 3 of my favourite Amiga videos that I've made on my YouTube channel. The first one is going to be a little kind of mini documentary that I made with Francois Lyonnais, who you may know, who was the genius behind STOS and Amos, the programming languages that we all used on the Amiga as kids. My favourite version of BASIC on the Amiga. Blitz BASIC was pretty cool as well, but Amos, that was awesome. So I actually did a little kind of 20-minute documentary with Francois exploring the history of Amos and also his plans for where he's going to be taking it in the future. So you may have seen this before. If you have, a good excuse just to keep back and watch it again. And if you haven't seen it, enjoy. But whatever you do, please do make a donation, Amigathon.com.
I still remember back in the early 90s when I first upgraded to an Amiga from a Commodore 8-bit machine. It was a real revolution. Those kind of leaps in computing power and capabilities don't really happen all that often these days. But back then, the jump in graphical power, audio, storage, a full graphical user interface just felt like such a next step. But there was one thing that I really missed. When you turned on most 8-bit machines, they all had one thing in common. They dropped you straight into a programming language, usually BASIC, that meant you could get straight into programming your machine. But when I got my Amiga 500 Plus with Workbench 2.0, I turned the machine on, and instead of asking me to enter a command, it prompted for a disk. It turned out you couldn't actually do anything with the machine without first loading some software. Now, in all honesty, I've never been a very proficient programmer, but I did enjoy typing in examples out of the manuals and then magazine listings and examining how they worked, or didn't work, 99% of the time. So not having an instantly accessible programming language at my fingertips did feel a bit like something was missing. Amiga-DOS version 2.0 did actually come with a language built in, AREX, but despite the fact that you could make quite capable programs with it, most Amiga users used AREX as a scripting or macro language to interact with other programs. And besides, my A500 Plus didn't come with any sort of manual for AREX, and as a young kid, I didn't really understand all that well what it was. Early versions of the Amiga Workbench did come with a version of BASIC called Amiga Basic, written by Microsoft, which did actually have some pretty nice features for the time, such as not requiring line numbers. And very early versions of the Amiga came with A-Basic from Metacomco. Amiga Basic, though, was never too well received by the Amiga user base. Maybe it was just too much of a departure from 8-bit basics, or it just lacked the functionality to take advantage of the Amiga's advanced hardware. Either way, no form of BASIC shipped with my machine, and things like C and assembly, as interesting as they looked to me, did seem a bit too complicated for my pre-teenage mind at the time. I'll be honest, I did miss BASIC. The other major 16-bit platform, the Atari ST, had a similar problem. Atari ST Basic shipped with early ST machines, but was actually written by Metacomco, who, kind of ironically, worked on the original Amiga operating system. But, like Amiga Basic, ST Basic had its problems, and wasn't well received by most users. In fact, Compute magazine in 1987 named one of its many flaws as among the worst basic bugs of all time. Users wanted an easy-to-use alternative that would better take advantage of the more powerful hardware in these machines. Enter STOS Basic. Created by French programmers François Lyonnais and Konstantin Sotiropoulos, it was an easy-to-use form of BASIC that was designed with graphics and sound in mind, making it perfect for the things most kids wanted to make: games. I caught up with François recently to get some background on the creation of STOS.
I was working with a game creation group, and when the Atari ST came out in France, we wanted to do a replacement for the system. So it would have been a DOS-like system with a command line, black screen, and in every DOS computer at the time, you had a BASIC. So I was the one to do the BASIC. And but as I was a game creator, immediately dove into my péché mignon, so I made a sprite engine and all the instructions to create games. That's it.
So it turns out that STOS was originally a replacement for the Atari ST's GEM operating system, but it turned out the BASIC was what people really wanted. So in the end, the product was stripped down to the BASIC interpreter, and when people saw what it could do, it started to take off. STOS was expanded with various add-ons, including a compiler, so basic programs could be executed without the need for loading STOS first. And of course, it didn't take long before STOS got ported to the other major 16-bit platform, and Amos for the Amiga was born. Although, here in the UK in the early 90s, the name Amos was more commonly known to viewers of the ITV soap Emmerdale Farm.
Amos don't want any speeches, so he's not going to get any. But I would like to propose a toast to wish him a very happy retirement. To Amos!
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, I first read about Amos in Amiga magazines, and it looked really appealing, being a basic language. It looked pretty powerful. And back then, most of the mags used to do columns and tutorials on Amos, and it wasn't long before I got hold of a cut-down demo version from a magazine cover disc. And that was when I realised just what a powerful language it really was. Amos was written for a base Amiga 500 system, so that would mean typically a 512K, or if you're lucky, 1 megabyte machine, with at most 2 floppy drives, and likely hooked up to a television set using the RF modulator. As back then, this is how most kids had their system set up in their bedroom, and the user interface is designed to be readable on that configuration. So when you load Amos, you're dropped into its 320 by 200 pixel full-screen editor. And visually, it is quite reminiscent of something like the Commodore 64. But if you don't like using it, you can actually import plain ASCII files, so that means you can use whichever editor you want to make your listings. The editor itself has 2 different modes, Direct and Edit. Edit is where you can write full program listings and then test them and execute them after. And Direct mode means you can actually run your program line by line. Very useful if you want to find out if you've got a function or command correct. Amos is actually a very powerful variant of BASIC with over 500 commands built in, and lots of them are specifically written to take advantage of the Amiga's powerful graphics and audio hardware, including sprites, bobs, commands to control text, graphics, scrolling, all built in. It even comes with an included sprite editor and sample bank creator. In fact, Amos was so powerful that its own configuration program was actually written inside it, of course using some nice copper effects as well. In fact, making those demo scene-style scrollers is a breeze using Amos. In 1991, just like STOS, Amos received its own compiler, meaning you could compile the code without the need to run Amos first and distribute your software on bootable disks. And then, it was followed by several different versions of Amos. A cut-down, more simple-to-use version called Easy Amos, a version designed to make 3D programs and games called, quite logically, Amos 3D, and then the premium version, Amos Professional. But what was the difference between them?
Well, the first one was Amos, the Amos 1.3, and the obvious, it was an interpreted language, a real interpreted language, a fast interpreter, but still. So it was obvious that next one would have to be a compiler. And, making a compiler is also kind of really fun for a programmer because you actually make code, you make code that makes code. So it's really fun. And then Easy Amos was an idea, I think, of Mishmi King, the CEO of or Richard Vanner, my project manager. It was to make a simple version of Amos with a reduced instruction set, a better manual, simpler manual, and make it for kids. So, and it was actually really good product. And then we wanted to make version 2 of Amos, and we made the mistake of calling it professional, because it was everything but professional. So, and Amos Pro was saluted really well by journalists when it was out. It was the first ever application to get 5 out of 5 in one of the major magazines in England. It wasn't even not Europress magazine. It was the competitor, and the journalist actually he got slap on his fingers. But yeah, Amos Pro, the mistake in the name, it should have been called Amos 2.
It wasn't long before most of the major UK magazines gave away full versions of Amos on their cover disc, which of course meant much more software was released both in the public domain and commercially. Some great games were released using Amos, including the Valhalla series,
It's the wizard. No way, Infinity. It's a book.
Scorched Tanks, which was an Amiga version of the MS-DOS game Scorched Earth, and later went on to inspire Andy Davidson to create the massive game Worms. Orc Attack, which was a remake of a Commodore 64 classic.
Let's rock.
And this very impressive Arkanoid clone that was released as late as 2003 using Amos, called Babanoid, and really showed off the graphical power of Amos. In fact, Francois is still contacted today from people who got their big break using Amos.
Yeah, and actually, it's kind of a fantastic story. Since a couple of years, I regularly receive messages from people on Facebook or LinkedIn just thanking me for having changed their life. I mean, I'm not kidding. Because they learned to program with Amos, they loved it, and then they chose a career in IT. And, all of them are very happy and have a very high position. So it was certainly a good learning tool, because, when you're a kid, you do not count time. You just want to do something, and you will spend as much as you need to do it. And you're only satisfied when it's finished. And so that's the only way to learn, and discover your passion. So, yeah, I must have received like 50 of such emails. And I mean, each time it's so fantastic to somehow have done something good, and it's really satisfying.
So Amos was great for people who wanted to tap into the power of the Amiga's custom chips without learning the low-level languages like assembler. But what about today? More than 25 years since the last release of Amos Professional, Amos is back. Now, I was at Pixel Heaven in Poland over the weekend, and Francois was there demoing Amos 2, a 21st century update of Amos made for modern systems that can actually still run the original code and lots more. So why was now the right time to bring Amos back?
I don't know, because first of all, I've got a job where I work 8 hours per day. So for a programmer, 8 hours is half part-time job. So, and I'm alone. I don't know many people, so I've got a lot of, and it's good to for a moment just to be with me, myself, and I. And so I have time. I browse on what I should do, and it was obvious, and I always wanted to do that, do a compiler for Amos that makes JavaScript, it's because I love JavaScript. It's a fantastic, it's a game engine, JavaScript. So yeah, I took the decision to do it in the end of November. And the first thing, and so the project was, December was a bit difficult, but starting in January, then it rolled. So it's a compiler. So for the moment you can do it, but you will. That's the goal. You do Amos compiler, Amos to compile my program.amos. And in the Amos program, you've got the banks, the source code, etc. The compiler first extracts all the resources and the source codes and create a modern application, which is basically a folder where you have the source code in ASCII, so you can use any editor to edit it, extract all the images of the banks and this one save them as individual PNGs, the music, the sound, so it extracts everything. And then you use your favorite source code editor, who for me is Visual Studio Code, and you program using the exact same syntax, same. It understands all the Amos program, Amos Pro, with the extensions, and you compile it, and then you run it in your browser. The advantage of a web-based application is that you can wrap it. So you actually create a native application for every platform that contains embedded a JavaScript and a fake browser. Well, a real browser, but embedded. So the size of the application is a big, like 30 megs, but really you don't care about that anymore. With the Amos 2 application, they will run on everything: Linux, Windows, Mac OS, iOS, and Android. Everything. So I've opened amos2.net. So the URL is simple, but the website is still under heavy work, and I'm not a web designer, so it's a bit of a core for me to do. But where I'm most active for the moment is on my Patreon page. So I've created a Patreon, and you're welcome to come and help me and participate, not only with money. I'm looking for help, people who test the new instruction, who report bugs, who suggest things, make a community, revive the Amos spirit, and build a community. When it's over, I will try to quote market it as learning tool for kids. Learn to code in BASIC, because BASIC has disappeared. It used to be everywhere, and it was simple. The first program I did was bug-free, and I did it 2 minutes after switching on the computer. It's just print hello, run. My first program, 2 minutes, no bugs. Without knowing anything. And now when you want to make something on a computer, either you get a game engine like Unity, so you've got a Words video on YouTube, or ClickTeam Fusion. Still, it's simpler, but it's not that simple. And you don't have the immediate gratification of having made a program. So that's what's lacked, the simplicity. And, it's not their fault, but it's because Microsoft made Visual Basic. At first they wanted it to be a hobbyist tool, and they were surprised that Pro were starting to use it. But you cannot say that you are a pro and you are programming in BASIC, because everyone will say you're lame. Of course. So that's why, when you ask a programmer, oh, do that in Visual Basic. Oh, no, I'd rather do that in C++ or in machine language. I'm a real pro, So that's why Basic is no longer there. And I think there is one Basic on Steam. I've seen that, but the market is empty. And properly, just I want to reassure everyone that Amos Pro and the extension, everything compatible with Amiga, with everything that was on the Amiga, and a few extra like the ability to rotate and zoom the bobs, modern machine use, is going to be free forever for individuals. For schools, no, and for companies, but I guess companies will not use Amos, but schools could. So I plan to set it and to go to the Pets Show, for example, in London. I've been there quite a lot with Click Team, so I'd be happy to go back there and try to actually live from Amos.
Now, as a kid who grew up using Amos and remembering the fun I had with it back in the day, it is incredible that a whole new generation of programmers are going to be able to cut their creative teeth once again using Amos 2. And if you'd like to find out more and get involved in it, you can back Amos 2 on Patreon, join the official Facebook group for daily updates, and even join their new forum on their website, amos2.net, and rediscover the joy of programming.
You're watching Amigathon 2021. I'm Dan Wood. Hopefully you enjoyed that little look at Amos, what a legendary programming language that was back in the day, and really enjoyed making that video with Francois. What a character and such a passionate guy as well. So if you want to keep up to date with what Francois is working on now, these updates that he's doing and bringing Amos back, definitely join his Facebook group. He's doing some amazing work. Now, of course, the reason that we're doing this stream today and the whole community has come together is to raise money for a really worthwhile cause. We're raising cash today for the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. So anything you can donate is going to make a massive difference to children who really, really need our help. So donate whatever you can right now, Amigathon.com. Now, in the meantime, I'm playing you a few of the YouTube productions that I've been most proud of on my channel over the last decade or so. And this next one, I love making this one. This was a look at the unreleased CD1200 drive. Now, I made this video with David Pleasance, who I'm sure all of you guys know was actually the former managing director of Commodore UK. And the CD1200 was supposed to be a CD-ROM drive that would have been released for the A1200 in summer of 1994. Now, unfortunately, Commodore went bankrupt in the middle of the design and the, what was meant to be the release of this drive. So unfortunately, it never made it to market. But there were a couple of prototypes. And I remember reading about it in magazines and being really hyped for this drive coming out. But unfortunately, never made it to market. But I always wondered what happened to those prototypes that we saw in the magazines. And then that question was answered when one of them turned up just a few miles up the road from where I live, actually, at the Retro Computer Museum in Leicester. Enjoy.
Now you're looking at the rarest of the rare Amiga add-ons and the last project that Commodore ever worked on, and possibly the only surviving example in the entire world. Today, we're going to get the story of the Amiga CD1200. And if you enjoy my videos on YouTube, I'm sure you will love my weekly retro gaming podcast. New episodes released every Friday from theretrohour.com. The springtime of 1994 is not really a time that most Amiga fans remember very fondly, as around then, the magazine headlines were filled with monthly stories about Commodore's huge financial losses, followed very shortly after by the computer giant's bankruptcy when Commodore International went bust on April 29th of 1994. The brand that had brought us classic machines like the Commodore 64, the Amiga 500 and the VIC-20 was now no more, and really, this did mark the end of the Amiga's life as a commercial mainstream platform. But even in those final dark months of Commodore, there were some interesting and now extremely rare products that were being worked on. In the April 94 issues of most Amiga magazines, they covered two really interesting bits of late Commodore hardware. First of all, the Commodore Amiga 4000 Tower, the daddy of the Amiga range, an 040-based Amiga 4000 in a giant, but I've got to say, very stylish-looking computer case. Now, the production of the A4000T was resumed by Commodore's successor, SCOM, a year later in 1995, but the Commodore version has got its own custom case which looks totally different to the more common ESCOM variant, and the Commodore version of the Amiga 4000 Tower is actually extremely rare. In fact, it's estimated only 200 Commodore Amiga 4000Ts actually rolled off the production line, with only a handful of them remaining today. But even more rare was a device which allowed Amiga 1200 users to play games written for Commodore's CD32 console, which was launched in the previous September. Now, the CD32 was only on sale for a mere 6 months before the company went under, but actually managed to get quite a big following and some success in the UK, where briefly the CD32 actually became the predominant CD platform, with its games outselling Sega Mega CD and PC CD-ROM titles over Christmas of 1993. The CD-ROM revolution was finally taking off after a false start with the CD-TV and the CDI, and Amiga 1200 users wanted a piece of the action. Commodore did release a CD-ROM drive for their older Amiga 500 machine in 1992, but the Amiga A570 drive only worked with titles released for their previous CD-TV platform, and it used the Amiga 500's custom edge connector, meaning there was no way to connect the A570 to any other Amiga model. The answer to this problem graced the cover of most Amiga mags in April 1994, and it was called the CD1200. This funky-looking CD-ROM drive connected to the Amiga 1200 and would allow it to seamlessly play all the games and titles released for Commodore's CD32 console. And looking at it, it actually looks just like a CD32, chopped in half and painted white. Featuring a top-loading mechanism, this definitely is a unique-looking CD-ROM drive. Sadly, the bankruptcy of Commodore International was announced just days after this drive was demoed at the 1994 CeBIT show in Germany, and the CD1200 never made it into production. But what happened to that prototype that was demoed in all of the Amiga magazines? This has been a question that has been asked on the Amiga forums, on Facebook, and on Usenet for more than 20 years. Now, a little glimmer of light did appear in early 2001 when a new company came onto the Amiga scene called Melansia Industries. They took out full-page glossy ads on the back cover of the final remaining Amiga High Street magazine, Amiga Active, and they also had a website claiming to be the next big thing. They even hired former Amiga developer Dave Haney to work on new PowerPC systems. Sadly, as time went on, it turned out that Melansia Industries was a total sham. And according to a statement released on Usenet by Dave Haney, the owner of the company, who went by the name of Dr. Ryan Kowinski, was actually an 18-year-old kid pretending to be a 40-year-old businessman and company owner. And his secretary actually turned out to be his mother. After not paying Dave over $55,000 worth of salary, Melansia Industries vanished, as did Dr. Ryan. But interestingly, Dr. Ryan did appear to own a dark grey charcoal colour version of the CD1200. Or the case, at least. Now, he showed this to a few Amiga websites and shared a few pictures, and there was even talk on some forums and Usenet that Ryan had embedded this CD1200 prototype in the bonnet of his DeLorean car. To be honest, nothing really shocks me when we're talking about the world of Amiga. But what about that white, more finished prototype, the one that appeared in all the magazines and was apparently working back in April of 1994? Most people assumed this ended up in a skip out the back of Commodore after the bankruptcy, or maybe their eventual buyer ESCOM and Amiga Technologies had it somewhere and then it got lost over the years. But then, in November of 2016, that question was finally answered. Ravi Abbott, who I host my Retro Hour podcast with, took a trip to the Retro Computer Museum in Leicester one Saturday morning late last year, and he sent me some really interesting pictures. Now, I was actually working at the time and almost fell out of my seat. There it was, the white Amiga CD1200 prototype in Leicester, of all places, just up the road from where I am. Now, the owners of the museum knew that this drive must have been something pretty special, as they had no idea what it was initially, and the drive was actually sitting in storage at the back of the museum. After Ravi got a bit of a tour around there, he made a short video on this, and we made a couple of forum posts talking about this discovery. Interest started to rise, and the museum actually did some more research on the story of the CD1200, and then moved that prototype into its rightful place in a display cabinet in the main museum. Last month, we actually hosted an event with Commodore UK's former Managing Director David Pleasance at the Retro Computer Museum in Leicester. So I thought this would be the perfect time for me to finally get a look at the CD1200 prototype and also find out some more on the story from David himself, who was the Managing Director of Commodore UK at the time and would have been responsible for releasing and marketing this product in the UK had it ever been released. Now, I've got to say a massive thank you to Andy from the Retro Computer Museum, who allowed me to very carefully take this out of the display cabinet and get a closer look at it. Now, as you can see, the CD1200 does look very much like a white CD32 drive. And in fact, this prototype has seen better days, and the CD lid appears to be jammed in place. But looking around the drive, we have the CD1200 logo in the same style as the later Amiga case badges. And there are some CD and power activity lights in the corner. Now, on the side of the CD1200, we've got a headphone jack and a volume control for it. On the back, we've got some standard phono and RCA ports for audio mixing, a port for data transfer that would have connected to the Amiga 1200's trapdoor port, a power switch, and a PSU connector. Now let's hear from David Pleasance and the man who found this drive, Andy Spencer from the Retro Computer Museum, to find out a little bit more about it. Now I will just say, there is a bit of background noise for the first minute or so, as there was a DJ performing in the next room, but the music does stop after the first 60 seconds.
Well, here we have a CD1200. It's the prototype of a CD drive that would plug into the Amiga 1200 and basically turn into a CD32. Would have been wonderful to have one.
And David, that was going to be launched in 1994. What do you remember about this drive?
Well, what I remember is that for the very first time ever in my 12 plus years with Commodore, we were launching a product where the whole thing was planned properly from the beginning to the very end. And by that I mean we had, because as you probably know, we had a fantastic relationship in the UK with all the major software publishers, which we'd worked on for several years. And what we'd done is that we had signed them up to NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, about the CD32, and we gave them all development kits, and they were all writing specific software which would utilize all the special features of the CD32. And lo and behold, our intrepid leader, Mr. Mediali, decided in his infinite wisdom he wanted to be greedy, and he wanted to bring the launch of the CD32 forward. Right now, this product here was part of our plan, that when we launched the CD32, which was planned actually to be launched in the spring, early summer of the following year, when we launched the CD32, at which time we would have had lots and lots of software written specifically for it to take advantage of it, that we believed that many 1200 owners would be jealous.
Yeah.
So the idea was to have this product that they could buy and add on and allow them to use the new software.
Brilliant.
But of course what happened is he was greedy, he brought the launch forward in spite of being warned, believe me, by me very, very strongly, that it would kill the sales of the A1200, which were all booked in, all recorded, all the orders were in place for Christmas. I said it will kill the 1200. He said he wanted the additional sales that the CD32 would bring, in spite of the fact there was no software for it. And the bottom line is that everything I predicted came true. And then of course, to add insult to injury, because of a licensing situation in the Philippines, they grabbed and held, they would not let any of the CD32s release from the Philippines. So not only did we screw up our 1200 market, we didn't have any CD32s to sell into the market either. So this product was just left by the wayside.
Well, Andy, this is like, what, revision 2? Is that the second model?
It's number 2, Rev 0.
How did that end up in Leicester, in the Retro Computer Museum?
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mal, the guy that actually owned the Commodore shop it was called the Cavendish
Computer Centre. Yeah.
But it was called the
Cavendish Commodore Centre.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Which I argued with him, by the way, about that. When I first met him, I said, "You're crazy."
He's a friend of mine as well. He's a mutual friend.
In fact, Malcolm and Rona, his lovely wife, they were the first people I ever met in the retail division of Commodore when I was brought into the retail division we were having one of the Commodore shows that we used to hold regularly in Novotel, and apparently what had happened is that Commodore had run a competition for independent dealers, and I think there was 4 or 5 independent dealers won this competition, and the prize was dinner on Commodore, and I was told you got to host that dinner. It was my very first ever role, and that's when I met Malcolm and Rona on that particular day. And all I do know is that Malcolm was an absolute gentleman, a brilliant businessman, very clever businessman, and he and I forged a great friendship. He stayed at my place, I've stayed at his. In fact, he used to own a place in Tenerife, and we've even gone over there and stayed at his place in Tenerife. That's the relationship that we had. Now, how he actually got hold of this, I have no idea. I promise you it wasn't me, but he knew all the right people.
Yeah, I get the feeling. I mean, it actually came from, I know it came from there, and we found it in a barn. He literally found it in a barn, and the barn was full of everything that came from the Cavendish Centre when it closed. Somebody was paid to clear it, and they'd store this stuff. A lot of it, and I know some 4000s were in there, and some 4000 towers were in there, they got scrapped. They literally got chucked into a big skip, which I find devastating. But the rest of the stuff went into a barn, a dusty barn. It was dry, but it was really very dusty, along with machine returns, all sorts of customer returns, all sorts of things, all got put there, loads of software packs and everything. And the guys contacted me that they'd got this barn, and basically said, you know, would you be interested in, you know, giving us
the price for anything you're interested in? Yeah.
And I said, okay, we'll take the whole lot. We came to some sort of, you know, an arrangement that suited us both. And inside the barn as well was also two P500s.
Wow.
One was working at the time, one wasn't. The second one has now died as well. We're not really sure what's wrong with it at the moment, but hopefully we can look at it when we get 5 minutes and when we get a new workshop sorted. This was in there, and there's loads of other bits of software and all sorts of strange bits and bobs that we've kept, including the signs we've got out there now as well, because they're quite rare, I guess. To get hold of this, it was literally, I saw it and went, that's like, I've never seen one of those. That's quite rare. I know my Commodore stuff. I've been a Commodore fan for a long time, you know, Vic 20 days even. And I saw this and went, I don't know what that is. That's quite scary, because I know what every Commodore part is, and I wanted this straight away, so I made sure we got it, and the rest is sort of history.
And that's when you knew you had something special.
Yes, because it's literally, you know, when it looked like a CD32 but it wasn't, I thought, has it been hacked by somebody? You know, no, it's not. It's actually come from Commodore like that.
Well, what do you know about this machine then? I mean, can you give us a little tour of what's on it and how it works?
From the side, it's obviously headphones and volume, which is pretty straightforward. On the other side, there's nothing. It's a normal CD drive inside, which actually does look a little bit
slightly
like,
higher. Yeah,
does look a little bit like the CD32.
Is the hinge broke on this model?
It does open, but I don't want to pull it too far. And on the back is the interesting piece, because obviously it would come from the Amiga into the audio, and then back out to your audio source. Your audio output,
amp,
DC input, which looks a bit like a normal, like a 15412 or something like that, or maybe something like that. An off switch, obviously, and then this is the interesting bit. We believe a cable comes from this and goes into the trapdoor of the Amiga 1200. We've heard 3 different stories about this. One of which is the trapdoor part is the controller and everything, and a bit like a SCSI interface of some sort or something like that, or an IDE interface or something like that, but I can't really see that personally. And with that, one of the devices, the board itself was the keycode chip and everything else that needed to run the CD32 games, but the one I actually believe is this actually has got a keycode chip in it. I don't know if you know any more than me.
No, I don't. But you know, we can find out.
We can find out?
Yeah.
How?
We can ask Jeff Porter, and you know, I was with Jeff Porter a couple of weeks ago. He's writing a chapter for my book.
David's got a few contacts.
You know a few people, yes. I would love to find out exactly what it is, and we will. I don't mind opening
it. And Dave Haney, of course. I mean, I talk to Dave every week.
If we can talk to, I mean, how, you know.
So essentially, what we're missing at the moment is that data cable and the trapdoor interface.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, the audio will be fine, no problems at all. We need to know if we can find out the exact power.
Yeah.
If it is something like a normal Commodore output, it'd be bloody fantastic.
So you've not tried to power it on yet?
No, I've not.
There's no reason why it would be anything different.
No, and that's the way I feel about it.
Mind you, with Commodore, who knows?
Who knows? Yes, we will have it open at some point. We're waiting for we're just currently building our new workshop at the moment. Once we've got a workshop built, I will be doing along with probably Simon and probably one or two of the other guys, probably Dean and Stu, and anybody else that wants to be there, Jim, and we'll do something, do a video, I think of.
But I think you must understand the idea, the concept of this to be sold pretty much immediately after we launched the CD32, if the launch had been done when it was supposed to have been done. After the Christmas, we'd sold all the 1200s, which we had all on order. Then we launched the CD32 early spring, late summer, and then after that you launched this, so that all the 1200 people are not suddenly left all on their own. Yeah. It was the first time, as I said, in all the years I was with Commodore, that they'd actually planned something properly.
Yeah.
But can I just say, as an aside, by the way, that you finding this from somebody who bought all of Malcolm's stock, when we sold everything that was left in Commodore UK's offices, and remember, we were the last Commodore subsidiary to close, because we were the strongest right from the start.
Yeah.
I rescued the Royal Warrant.
Oh wow!
From the skip.
Oh wow!
And I hate to say, I'm sorry to say, I actually gave it to the Cambridge Museum.
That's fine.
But I needed
they're friends of mine anyway.
Well, I needed it to be somewhere. In fact, I had the Smithsonian Institute onto me. They wanted it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I didn't want it to go to America because it's a British thing. The Royal Warrant is very British.
Yeah.
So it did go, but it's there. At least it's there, and it's where it should be.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
So the goal is next then. So eventually, you're hoping people can come to the Retro Computer Museum and actually play CD32 games on that eventually?
I would love that to happen. Yeah, definitely, yeah. I feel it may not happen. However, with your contacts, with your contacts, we may be able to get something from it. If we can power it on and it spins, I'd be happy.
You know what you can do, though, what I would do, because obviously as a non-profit making entity as you are, you could say people to bring your own 1200s and have a play, and it would cost you a couple of quid an hour.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Something like that, just for the fun of and uniqueness of it.
Yeah.
And that will help to raise funds.
Absolutely.
What do you think of that as an idea?
Lovely
Sounds
idea.
Great to me.
Every Amiga fan would love to. That is a holy grail.
Yeah. Even to hold it, I think.
It's heavier than you expect.
I mean, that's why we think there's probably more in here. It's not just a CD drive.
No.
There is definitely more in there than a CD drive. So I think the Kiko chip's in there and everything. I know what a Kiko chip looks like, so I think once we open it and I see that Kiko chip, I'll be very happy. Because it is to me a CD32 then, just a cut down version.
I'll get in touch with Malcolm because I haven't spoken to him for ages, but I am in touch with him. I got his email address.
Cool.
And I'll find out where he got it from and how he got it, because it's a good story.
Yeah, fantastic, isn't it?
In fact, I might even put it in my book.
Awesome.
Yeah, why not? If I can get the truth, if I can get the background from it.
Well, really, that was, because I remember that was demoed at the C-Bit show.
It was.
1994.
Absolutely, yeah.
April, May, literally days before Commodore declared bankruptcy.
We've got the Amiga format that it's showed in as well. There's not much in there about it.
Yeah.
It'd be lovely to find out a bit more about it, where it came from, and I mean, obviously, it would have been made in America, so it would have come from America.
Yeah, I mean,
it would have been designed and built there and then shipped over. So how
in Westchester?
How somebody in Leicester get it?
Yeah.
No, you can't be certain it was built in America. It certainly would have been designed in America.
Yeah.
But they had sources all over the place that they were actually getting stuff built from. And maybe they were pulling a few favours from people.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Absolutely.
Never know. Honestly,
in those dying days of the company, I guess things were probably pretty desperate for
absolutely.
Whoever could design it and get.
But I mean, I think, as I said, this was a logical step. And I was blown away because Commodore having logical steps.
Yeah,
it didn't make any sense.
No.
So that could have been on every Amiga 1200 Anna's desk.
Yeah,
it would have been, though, wouldn't it?
So now
I think Commodore would have literally sold as many 1200s. These 1200s, because I would have wanted one.
CD-ROM was so hot then.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And to be fair, one of the games that springs to my mind with the intro on it is Superfrog. Superfrog was stunning. And the intro, the CD32 version, is wonderful. So to be able to play that on your stock.
We could have promoted this as the next big jump.
Absolutely, yeah, it would have been. It would have been.
I never stopped though. I can't help it,
What could have been, though, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, all very interesting so far, I think you'll agree. But when I was at the event, I did share a couple of pictures of the CD1200 onto the Commodore Amiga Facebook group to get a bit of reaction and maybe, wind a few people up as well, kind of making out like it was mine. It obviously wasn't. It belonged to the museum. What I didn't expect to get, though, was a reply from Beth Richard. Now, Beth was working for Commodore at the time, and she was actually the original designer of the CD1200 prototype, and she offered some really interesting details about the drive, and she confirmed that the missing trapdoor card did contain the Akiko chip, which is needed to drive the CD-ROM drive's logic. And she confirmed they only ever made 9 of these prototype drives, so this is extremely rare. Now, Beth is actually in contact with the guys from the Retro Computer Museum to give them some advice on getting this prototype working again, and they are actually in talks for Beth to come over to the UK and have a look at this remaining example of the CD1200 and maybe see if she can help get it up and running again. So I am confident with Beth's help, somebody can make a new trapdoor card, and hopefully they can get this rarest of the rare Amiga prototype up and running again for everybody, all Amiga fans, to go and enjoy. So I'll definitely be revisiting the CD1200 at some point in the future and hopefully doing a positive follow-up story to this when the drive is working. And if you've watched this video all the way to the end, I've got one final question for you. If somebody was, hypothetically speaking of course, to recreate some of these drives, maybe do a crowdfunder to make some actual working CD1200s, who would be interested in buying one and how much would you be prepared to pay? Leave a comment and let me know in the video comments, because I've got somebody asking me. I can't say any more, but please do let me know. If there's enough interest, I'll do a follow-up video on this and maybe we can get that project up and running. So thank you for watching this video about the Amiga CD1200, and I'll catch you next time.
You're watching Amigathon 2021 with me, Dan Wood. Nearly time for me to finish up my stream, but just a quick reminder, the reason that we are doing this today is to raise money for this incredible cause, changing the lives of kids who really need our help with the Children's Miracle Network Hospital. So if you haven't donated yet, every penny that we raise today is going to make a massive difference for these kids. So please do it right now on the website, amigathon.com. Share it with your friends, and let's make a difference for these kids. So I think we've got time just for one more little video from me, and this is a look at one of my favorite Amiga shows. Now, incredibly, this video was only filmed last year at the start of 2020, which I know feels like a lifetime ago now with everything that's been happening in the world over the last 18 months. But this is Amiga Island that was held in Athlone in January 2020. And I've been to the show a few times now, and you know, I love all the Amiga events that I go to, but this one is just something else. It's really, really, really cool. So if you haven't been before, hopefully there will be another Amiga Island for 2022. Keep an eye on their website. But in the meantime, here is a little look back at the last Amiga show that I attended in Ireland last year and why it's so special.
Amigas rock.
Amiga forever.
Amigas suck.
Don't worry, we pelted in with Atari STs for saying that. So last weekend, a load of Amiga fans from all around the world made our annual trip to the lovely Irish town of Athlone for Amiga Ireland. Now, it was a very early start for us on Friday morning. I could tell by the fact that the radio station in the car on the way to the airport was talking about night shift workers still, but it was worth braving a cold January morning at 5 a.m. to fly out to Ireland for this amazing event. After a short 1-hour flight from East Midlands Airport to Dublin, we were met at the airport by a lovely chap called Kenny, who was attending the event and offered very kindly to drive us the 1-hour journey from Dublin to Athlone. And because of our really early flight, that did mean that we got to Athlone quite early. I think it was around 8:50 in the morning that we arrived. So we did have a few hours to kill before the hotel would let us check in at midday. So Kenny actually gave us a bit of a guided tour of the town. Now, at the risk of turning this video into the travel show, I thought I'd just quickly show you a few of the historic sites that we saw in Athlone, because it is a beautiful town, just perfect for a visit, even if you're not attending an Amiga show like we were. Checking out some of the attractions like the castle and the old school cannons are here as well. These are so cool. And we actually earmarked the oldest pub in Ireland, Sean's Bar, and we thought we'd have a return trip there at a time that's a bit more acceptable to have a beer than 9 o'clock in the morning. And speaking of breakfast time, if you're in Athlone, highly recommend a lovely little cafe that we found called Cloud 9 for food. I think we actually had about 4 meals here over the weekend. Really nice. The Amiga Island event itself was actually held at a new venue this year, the lovely Sheraton Hotel, which gave us a lot more room than previous years. Now, to make life easier, I actually stayed at the hotel itself, which was really handy, and it meant that it was literally a short trip upstairs to my room. And as you can see, I thought I'd do a quick little hotel room tour here. The rooms were actually really nice. And I did start to really regret not bringing my Amiga CD32 or something to hook up to that lovely 50-inch TV that was on the wall. Now, heading down one floor, we had this really big hall on the first floor of the hotel, and loads of Amigas were set up, of course, and it was just great to socialise with everyone all weekend long. But apart from that, they also had talks and workshops and lots of classic Amiga games and hardware that you could sit down and play. And they also had gaming tournaments on all weekend too, on these big screens around the hall. And this is a guy called Daniel who thrashed everybody else at Stunt Car Racer and managed to bag himself a lovely trophy as a result. Nice one, Daniel. And there were some really interesting machines on display as well, including this Mr. FPGA machine running an Amiga core that was shown to me by a great guy called Seamus, who also had this modded Amiga 600 case with a Raspberry Pi inside. And he'd used a device called a Kira that meant you could actually use the original Amiga 600 keyboard. And I was trying to get a little bit of sneaky footage of it without putting off this guy who's playing Cannon Fodder too much. There was also an Amiga 1200 with the recent A1200.net black replacement cases. And there were lots of different models of Amigas on display, including a couple of CD32s. I did like this actually, a PS2 keyboard that was plugged into a Terrible Fire expansion that actually matches the look of the CD32 pretty well, I think. And yeah, I was intentionally trying to put Darren off that game. And next to it, we had the beautiful Checkmate digital black case. Now, this was a recent Kickstarter by Steve Jones to make these retro Amiga 3000 inspired cases that you can hold all kinds of machines inside, including PCs, Raspberry Pis, and as you can see here, it can hold Amigas as well. Now, in this one, there was an Amiga 500 with a Vampire FPGA accelerator fitted, and I love the look of this black case. There are also a couple of Commodore 64s on display, and lots of Amigas just set up with two joysticks or twin controllers that meant that you could just sit down and play whatever you wanted on them. There are also people doing repairs and recapping over the weekend. And Amiga Kit are there as well. They are, of course, the biggest Amiga-only retailer in the world, and they were there showing off some of their new products. Now, I actually let Matthew from Amiga Kit talk me through some of their new expansions that they've only just launched, and they were selling for the first time at this show.
This RAM expansion uses BGA memory and features an FPU socket.
Oh, great.
And it should come in at a very good price, about half of what's currently on the market. And the same technology is used in the new Zoram A2000. A couple of years ago we did the Zoram A4000, and this is an extension of that product line. 8 megs of memory. Both of them can use Ranger memory on 5.5 megs and 4 megs as well for added compatibility. We have A500 expansions and A600 expansions as well. These are for the A500 Plus.
It's 1 megabyte.
Yeah. 1 megabyte?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the new fast IDE. And you've got the optional Gale adapter, which increases the speed of the hard drive transfers.
Faster IDE.
Yeah, faster IDE, and it just plugs on and off.
And this is for 1200 and 600?
1200 and 600, yeah.
And how much are you selling these for?
They should be around the £35 mark. Excluding this will be an optional extra. The floppy switches, so you can switch between if you've got an external Gotek or an internal floppy drive. You can easily connect it up.
And everyone needs these floppy disk labels.
Oh yeah.
Hard to get hold of these days. There were tutorials and workshops all weekend long on everything from 3D rendering. Vicky from Pixel Vixen on YouTube did a workshop on pixel art on D-Paint as well that was really good. And Doug from the fantastic 10-minute Amiga Retrocast did a live web conference with Trevor Dickinson, who is the man behind Aeon and the new range of Amiga 1 machines. And he was taking questions online and relaying them to the audience and doing a live web stream as well. And there was new software being shown off at the show too, including a very addictive game that everybody was queuing up to play on the Saturday called Dodgy Rocks. Now, I actually had just a couple of minutes to chat to John Gervin, who is the guy behind the game, to find out a bit more about it.
This game started as a Power Rangers game that I made for my son, because he's one of the Power Rangers, and obviously I couldn't release a Power Rangers game, so it turned into Dodgy Rocks.
How did you make it? What's it written in?
This is the Amiga version. It was not done by me, it was done by Rob. The original was written in an engine called Goto Engine, but this is written in Blitz Basic. It's available, the PC, iOS and Android versions are available for download now, and the Amiga version is not quite finished yet. It will be on Aminet as soon as it's ready.
For free?
For free, yeah.
Oh, great. There were several Amiga legends here as well, including former Commodore engineer Dave Haney, who made the trip over from America and was interviewed on stage by Boat from the brilliant Amigos podcast. And you can watch the full thing on their channel. I will put a link in the video description. And on Friday night, we had a cake-cutting ceremony just before we all went off for dinner by former Commodore UK boss David Pleasance and Trevor Dickinson, who cut into this lovely Amiga 35 cake. Now, obviously, it's not all about the hardware and the software and the systems. Socialising is a huge part of events like this as well. And we went out for dinner and drinks on both nights. I mean, you know, you can't really say no when someone hands you a pint of Guinness in Ireland. And on the Friday night, we went out for this delicious curry. I've got to say, it's probably one of the nicest curries I've ever had in my life. And around 60 of us took over this lovely little Indian restaurant in Athlone. And Mike Clark, who you may know, he was formerly of Psygnosis, did music on games like Hired Guns, Lemmings 2 and Microcosm, and actually did the theme for our Retro Hour podcast as well. We found out it was actually his birthday that day, so we couldn't let that go by without a bit of a celebration.
Happy birthday to you.
Hooray!
Speech. Go on, Dan.
Thank you.
And we ended up in a great traditional Irish pub called Gertie's. And we had this private room at the back just packed with Amiga fans, talking about all sorts of Amiga stuff. Dave Haney was giving us tales about his time at Commodore and systems he was working on, and also playing with a few systems as well, like this great little modern Game Boy clone that was demoed to me by a lovely guy called Eamon. Now, unfortunately, I got to the bar just a little bit too late to be included in the annual picture, which this year was Lemmings themed, but I did get David Pleasance to model one of the wigs a bit later. And the party went on well into the night. I think I got to bed around 3 a.m, and a lot of them were still going strong at that point. And on the Sunday morning, with a slightly sore head, we actually didn't fly back until 7 p.m. on Sunday evening, so decided that we'd spend the day having a look around Dublin. And again, thank you, Kenny. He drove us there from Athlone and actually gave us a great tour of Dublin and some of its historical landmarks, which was really interesting. And that fresh Irish winter air did wonders for the Sunday morning hangover. And Kenny also pointed out this famous fish and chip shop, which has had celebrities from all over the world go in there, including Snoop Dogg, Colin Farrell and Peter Andre. You may know that as well as computers, I'm well into my DJing too, so we checked out a few of the local record shops. And speaking of retro gaming, this incredible shop called The Rage. Now, I've actually visited this shop before, but everyone kept telling us that we need to go back to this place, and they kindly let me film a bit of footage inside the shop. And there is all sorts in here, including plenty of box systems. And I love this wall of classic consoles and computers they've got. There were loads of games on display for sale and many retro machines. You had NES, Mega Drive, N64, Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, lots more both boxed and loose. And prices were actually pretty reasonable, usually a lot less than you pay on sites like eBay. And in the corner, I did spot a few really old school games for the Atari 2600 and even a few Spectrum cassette tapes as well. It is quite a small store and the space is split between games and vinyl, but if you are in Dublin and into retro gaming, highly recommend that you have a visit to The Rage. Really cool place. So that was Amiga Island 2020. This is actually my second time at the show, and I enjoyed it even more than last year. Like I mentioned before, they actually outgrew their previous venue. That meant they had to get this bigger space this year, and luckily, they got even more people through the door, which is a sign of just how healthy the Amiga scene is at the moment that these shows are continuing to grow. And actually, it was that much of a success, they've actually booked the venue again for next year already. So tickets, I'm sure, will be on sale for Amiga 2021 Ireland very shortly. And before then, there are more events coming up too. Flashback 2020 in Holland in June that incorporates Amiga 35, and there will be an Amiga 35 event in the UK coming up in October. So if you're an Amiga fan, already lots of events to look forward to in the next year.
You're watching Amigathon 2021 with me, Dan Wood. Nearly time for me to wrap up my stream and hand over to somebody else. But, hopefully you've enjoyed these videos that I played out for you. But the reason that we're doing this, of course, is to raise money for these kids. So please, if you haven't donated already, head onto the website, amigathon.com, and help us raise money for this incredible cause, the Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. Enjoy the rest of the stream, and I'll see you soon.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much to Dan for putting that compilation together. That was so cool to see all of the stuff that Dan's been going on, and I especially loved the Amiga Ireland recap. It brought back some good memories.
Because you were in it.
Because I was in it. I love seeing myself. I'm a damn handsome man. Now, we move on. We are going straight to the man himself. You want to talk about the man. Amiga Bill is ready and waiting to take the helm of Amigathon. I know he's been practicing hard. He's going to try and complete a shooter. I think it's called Iniyaya or something like that. Invenia. I don't know. These Amiga games.
I'm hoping it's Iniyaya. Yeah. That sounds good.
But we are going to take it right over to Bill so you guys enjoy him. And then after that, he is going to pass the baton to Ash Said Hi for more Amiga awesomeness. So you guys, we will be back after that. In the meantime, please do enjoy Amiga Bill.
Good luck, Bill.
In 5, 4. All right. So we've just rated. Okay, now let's look at him. What else?